Hello and welcome to the Irish Fire Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Houghton. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, and financial independence enthusiast, sharing my financial freedom journey. Stay tuned and welcome aboard. On a sunny Saturday morning, reality struck deep as I was sitting in a criminal investigation box on Henry Street to give a statement. Thankfully, I wasn't the one up for criminal charges, but rather I was giving my statement on the peer-to-peer lending platform Groupeur, as the Irish Gardaí were conducting a criminal investigation and were collecting statements from Irish investors. I left feeling rather foolish and like a real failure. Hindsight often provides clarity, but is a double-edged sword, as it can make one feel like a fool too. I stopped outside a cafe and read a quote on the window. The timing was uncanny. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better. Samuel Beckett. As I read the quote, I couldn't help but feel exhausted. How many times does one need to fail to reach success? How many lessons does one need to learn along the way? Reality sat in that on my journey towards financial independence, that I had overcomplicated nearly every aspect of it. Rather than have a simple investing plan, I dabbled in so many different investments that it was no surprise that some of these were now blowing up in my face. Furthermore, I had started 3 new companies in the last 12 months or so, and those realities were starting to come home to roost as the accounts needed to be filed for those companies, and the accountancy costs were eating significantly into any profits made. If you're going to start a company, make sure the long-term income will significantly exceed the running costs. I had become a jack of all trades and a master of none. I had failed to see the most obvious path to pretty much every success. Keep it simple, stupid. On my path to simplifying my life and becoming FI, I had over-engineered the process. It was no wonder that even working part-time hours as a web developer, I felt like I was constantly short of time. Trying to run 4 businesses and having multiple investments in different asset classes, it was exhausting. This is all on top of having 3 young kids, establishing and running hockey clubs, trying to establish a new native tree co-op, and let's not forget the podcast. The journey to financial independence is a time freedom one, yet I'd fallen for the trap. In an ironic twist, I had initially freed up my time, only to lose it again by starting too many new ventures. These ventures, while fun and exciting at first, had become difficult and frustrating. Businesses that needed true passion and more time than I had to give. All were viable in their own right, but not when I wasn't able to give them the time and energy they deserved. Starting any business is a hard slog and not suitable for those who don't have the time to work on them. So what's my plan from here? This sounds like bad news on reflection. The best way to describe my next steps is I'm going to give my financial independence journey a bit of a pruning. This will cost me money in the short term and will likely hurt the portfolio initially. I need to close the companies that aren't living up to their full potential. Tragically, it costs significant money to close a company, which is a real double whammy when you consider some of them have lost money. I'll need to fund this personally with post-tax money, so it's going to be an expensive process. Cleaning up my investment portfolio is also an ongoing process. I want to focus on putting together a more traditional portfolio of index funds and real estate. I mentioned a few episodes back that we'd found a great mortgage broker who had found a way to use equity from our home to buy an investment property. We've since decided that it makes more sense for us to move into a bigger house and we rent our current house as the investment property. I'll provide an update of this on a future episode if we can put the deal together. I'm still looking to buy land and plant native trees. This is a slow process and the deal I've been working on has been delayed due to issues with right-of-way access. The blame game has been going back and forth and there is now some doubt that the deal will happen. So hopefully we find a resolution. Talk about another complication on top of everything else. The one investment I am most proud of, and the one bit of advice I hope to give you all, is that I've utilized my pension. Through all the noise, falling and rebounding markets, investment scams and stress, my pension, which invests in index funds, has been automated and simple. The whole process is automatic. It's a deductible expense for my company, and other than a small fee of around 1.1% per year, has none of the overheads of tax returns and putting accounts together. The last significant change I want to make is in relation to my web development company. As many of you know, I lost my passion for web development years ago, yet I find myself in a position where I'm extremely good at what I do and well paid as a result. I started other non-related businesses because I was so determined to find other income streams which I hoped would bring me more joy. The ironic twist is that in trying to form other businesses, I started to truly understand that my web development company was actually a much bigger success than I give it credit for. Other than a couple of quiet weeks in March, work-wise, I'm back to being busier than I ever was before COVID-19. Keep in mind, for the last couple of years, I haven't really taken any new clients on and spend little to no time on promotion or new business. From an income point of view, my earning potential is second to none. If I fully applied myself as a web developer, I could have a savings rate of around 75%. And this is before I even tried to scale my web development business. 12 years ago, I developed and sold licensed software. This was virtually zero marginal cost and very little time per sale. For a couple of years, business was very good. My entire thought pattern of this episode was built around the quote I saw on the cafe window outside the Garda station by Samuel Beckett. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter, try again, fail better. Failure hurts. Even admitting failure is hard, let alone accounting for the lost time and money. But as reality sets in, I realize that the later part of the quote is what inspires. Try again, fail better. I'm telling my story because it is an example that even with all the mistakes I've made, all the expensive lessons and failures, I'm still learning and working out my FI path. It sounds like I'm going backwards, but I know I will look back in the long run and be grateful for the lessons I've found along the way. My hope is that you can learn from my mistakes, keep your own journey simple, and find your own path, but also understand that failure is part of the journey and be prepared to learn from it when it finds you. As always, if you have any questions on this episode, feel free to drop me an email at michael@firepodcast.ie. Otherwise, I look forward to catching you on the next episode. If you're a big fan of the show, why not become an Irish Fire Podcast member for free? Members receive access to inside information that isn't shared on the podcast, as well as regular updates such as the monthly newsletter. To become a member, visit www.firepodcast.ie.